I thought I'd start today's episode by talking about evil, the nature of evil, our relationship with the concept of pure unbridled wickedness, both as a culture and as a species. But then I remembered I'm not smart, and you should probably watch better videos for that. And in general, curio vids if you want some smart shit. If, however, you'd rather someone just show you old nostalgic shit in an increasingly failed bid to mentally stave off middle age, well, I'm your trash girl. Do you remember Werebears? Do you remember them? They're ordinary bears, or are they? You see, back in the 80s and for most of all of the time, toys have to be very, very gendered. So you had Care Bears, which of course is just for the girls, and then they tried to make this happen for boys, Werebears. Oh, look. Oh God, its face turns inside out. And then it's a monster, and oh my God, its hands turn inside out. God. And it's a monster. And it's a monster. Anyway, that's a werebear. Oh God, let's just shit on EA. You know, I'm starting to think that Electronic Arts might be evil. Now, I know that will make some eyes roll. Calling a corporation evil is classic hyperbole, right? It's just a video game publisher at the end of the day. How on earth could it perpetuate such profound wickedness as to deserve the ultimate impugnment of moral character? The word evil is particularly weighted in the English language, commonly reserved for the very worst among us, or used to refer to wickedness on a supernatural level. To call something as mundane as a video game publisher evil is perhaps pushing the rhetoric too far, and could make one sound overly dramatic or even spoiled and entitled in the eyes of some. You know, a bit whiny, a bit Mass Effect 3's ending sucked so I'm gonna threaten to kill your kids. Here's the problem, though, with EA and the nature of evil. EA's evil, and not just in the way the gamers say it. I mean, it's not colloquial, it's evil. Electronic Arts is one of the biggest offenders when it comes to swindling money out of unsuspecting families. By smuggling gambling mechanics into games for children, EA has made money to such an extreme degree that it's been prepared to fight international laws in the past to keep putting loot boxes into its FIFA series. Now, we've long since litigated the status of loot boxes here. They're gambling. Governments around the world agree with this sentiment, a sentiment I've been doggedly arguing in favour of since the middle of the last decade. Even game journalist publications have stopped posting hot takes in favour of them. It's become so fucking clear they're gambling. Well, I guess there was the Fun Presents article, which... Now, none of this means they're going away anytime soon. Many publishers will happily crow about loot boxes not being in their latest AAA game while knowingly putting them into other games. Electronic Arts is an exemplar of this, boasting there won't be any microtransactions in Jedi Fallen Order for easy applause, while continuing to sell loot boxes to kids in its FIFA series. You gotta love it when companies do that. It's like they know what they're doing is bad because they're promoting not doing it as good, but they won't stop doing it overall. It's kind of like when evil people do stuff. You know, oh, I'm sorry I did the bad thing. Look, I'm not doing the bad thing now. Do you forgive me? Psych, I'm doing the bad thing again. What makes EA particularly notable, however, is in its methodology, which according to reports going around this year is so manipulative as to be truly remarkable. A leaked report, which EA hasn't challenged the validity of, did the rounds a little while ago, and it revealed that EA likes to spend its time, and I quote, funneling its players into one single mode of its FIFA games, Ultimate Team. the mode which runs on loot boxes. The document, titled Run Up to FIFA 21, is part of an internal presentation from 2020 that came to light after CBC News obtained and released it. In it, Electronic Arts proudly boasts, "All roads lead to FOT," and it highlights exactly how obsessed publishers are with herding players toward microtransactions and in-game gambling. In-game, FIFA is designed to use targeted content and messages to, and I quote, "drive excitement and funnel players towards FOT from other modes." In addition, new players will be given all the tools they need to hit the ground running with FIFA Ultimate Team thanks to welcome pack content. And I've said this bit before, I will say it again. In real life, drug dealers don't do that whole the first hit's free thing because drugs are expensive. In fact, if any of them do it, I want to know where they are. I mean, obviously don't say it in the comment section, hit me up in private and let me know where they are because I want free drugs. Ain't me or no one I know is aware of a drug dealer that cool. But I love how the idea of a cartoon drug dealer is inspiration for game publishers who do things like login bonuses or welcome packs or in-game dribbles of premium currency, just something to give you that first hit for free. Like a cartoon drug dealer. Electronic Arts is evil. Literally as evil as a fictional villain in an anti-drug PSA. Like seriously, that's what these games with these free-to-play style economies are. That's what a free-to-play style economy is. It's give you a hit for free, get you hooked, get the money out of you. And as this monetization has only gotten more and more extreme, it's only gotten more and more downright super fucking villainous. The report talks of converting players away from whatever mode they actually buy FIFA for, turning them into Ultimate Team players, stating that it's exploring cross-platform deep discount aligned with summer heat content plus assets to drive consistent player journey from pause through FOT conversion. It's sickeningly written corpo speak that roughly translates to psychologically shepherding players into the mode filled with opportunities to spend more money on a $60 to $70 game. Players will be actively messaged and incentivized to convert throughout the summer. Incentivized to convert. Like, Jesus Christ, this is how they fucking speak when they think we're not listening. This is how they see you, the player, something to be straight up fucking indoctrinated. EA's response to the leak was, quite frankly, fucking pathetic. According to CBC, an EA spokesperson declined an interview request and wouldn't comment on the document, which, he noted, was marked privileged and confidential. Fucking little pricks. Other than to say it is being viewed without context and the interpretations of what it says are misinformed. When asked to clarify, he did not respond. Yeah, well, of course he didn't respond. This is the old out-of-context excuse. It's up there with do your research in the league of things people just yell to imply you're wrong without backing the implication up. Something you can just toss out there to pretend there's more to a story than there really is. Well, let me tell you, there's nothing more nuanced to the story than this. Electronic Arts is an evil fucking company run by evil pieces of shit. Most of them are, but EA is the one with the fun evil PowerPoint presentation. And they're not evil just because they're funneling people. FIFA has caused irrevocable harm to individuals and families across the world for years. Microtransactions in general have. Microtransactions are immoral and they're harmful. Let's cut the fucking bullshit and actually focus on this for a moment. I'm not interested in talks of personal responsibility today. You can argue all day long that it's a customer's fault if they've had thousands of dollars hoodwinked out of them, but that's victim blaming as far as I'm concerned, and it lets hoodwinkers off of the hook that they're winking hoods on. What matters is there is a vulnerable class of people, and Electronic Arts is preying on it. If you've not watched our video about how predatory monetization actually impacts people's lives, then I urge you to. I don't think you'll find a more humanizing look at the actual customer side of these predatory economies, and they are predatory. Microtransactions are inherently designed to single out and toy with neurodivergent people, those with addictive habits, or even just the lonely and isolated. There are dozens upon dozens of psychological tricks used to target these different people, from time-limited events that spur anxiety, to haves and have-not economies, to grinding progression that tests patience and attention, to glorified casinos that create addictive behaviors practically indistinguishable and scientifically linked to problem gambling habits. Game publishers know these tricks, they love these tricks, and they employ these tricks all the time. Since the very beginning of the 2010s, I've used the phrase psychologically manipulative to describe in-game economies. They are unquestionably exploitative economies, and the results are indisputable. People in debt, having been tricked by small, insignificant purchases that added up over time until they were thousands in the hole without ever knowing it. The very nature of a microtransaction is predatory and manipulative. They're meant to be little spends that you don't notice, that seem reasonable on their own, but soon tot the fuck up. We get families waking up to find that the football game they bought for their kids tricked that kid into clearing the bank account out because they wanted their favourite footballer in a mode they were funneled toward and converted into playing, and they didn't even get the fucking footballer they wanted. That's a true story. In 2019, the BBC published multiple articles highlighting the financial harm loot boxes did to families. Parents simply do not expect that a game rated as suitable for kids aged 3 would contain randomised premium purchases that can be so easily and so numerously bought that you've run out of money before you know it's even happened. But EA simply continues to disagree that loot boxes are gambling, like their opinion means jack fuck, and hides behind the same pitiful and disgusting excuses it always has. In a further statement, EA trotted out all the same old crap that we've debunked on this show countless times. We provide a choice. We're just supporting engagement. We don't encourage kids to spend in our games. And, the most classic of all, the majority of players don't spend. Which, when you consider how much money FIFA Ultimate Team makes, is a case of EA really tipping its hand and showing us exactly how evil it is. If the majority of players don't spend, that means the game industry makes billions and billions of dollars off of a handful of people. These are the whales that companies love to talk about, the tiny percentage of people who spend the most amount of money. Now, game publishers love to present whales as a few really rich people who are happy to be milked of cash, no harm, no foul. Well, I've spoken to some of these whales. In reality, they can be neurodivergent, addicted to gambling, or simply susceptible to the manipulation involved in any in-game economy. And here's the thing, excessive amounts of free spending money is an element that distinctly does not unite these people. The fact is, EA actively and openly admits to extracting millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars away from a tiny minority of its audience. And frankly, that's more disgusting to me than if most players spent a bit of money. Like, they're really just admitting their business model hinges on a few targets. I frankly think it's sick. I think EA is sick, and I think every game publisher using these economies is equally fucking perverse. And yes, I think the victimization, the way in which people with particular mental issues, including my ADHD adult self, are preyed upon is outright and downright evil. Pure fucking evil. We know the manipulation involved in microtransactions, we know the human cost of it, and we know how they cause material harm to their victims, and yet EA knowingly, happily continues to do it. If that's not evil, I don't know what is. The idea of the evil corporation feels like a work of fiction. And that's because so many works of fiction have evil corporations. We've seen evil corporations as the stuff of fiction all our lives. From Weyland-Yutani of Alien to Oscorp in Spider-Man, we've had the notion of the villainous corpo thrown in our face so many times that the very idea feels like fantasy. After growing up watching the vile machinations of Lawrence Limburger and loot and plunder, the idea of a real executive being that cruel and callous seems like a, well, like a kid's show. I'm not going to outright say it's by design, but I do sometimes wonder if these fictional evil corporations are there just to make the real evil these corporations do seem less believable. I mean, so much of media is corporate owned and distributed and greenlit. I don't know, maybe movie executives just get off on rubbing all this bullshit in our face under the guise of entertainment. Nevertheless, there's a lot of corporate-owned media that tells us corporations are evil. In science fiction, of course, not in real life. Whether by design or not, the result is the same. People think you're being a conspiracy nut when you call any corporation evil, even though, let's face it, they are. They just are. They are actually polluting Earth for money like they did in Captain Planet. They're actually treating their crews as expendable like Weyland-Yutani in Alien. They're actually greedily hoarding all their wealth like Montana fucking Max. I cannot confidently say that they're making goblin serum. That might still be fiction. But except for goblin serum, and only goblin serum, everything that has been presented as fictional evil in science fiction does appear in actual fact to be actual fact. Hell, they might actually be worse in actuality. I mean, did any single Captain Planet episode predict the sheer damage to the environment done by NFTs? Course not. I mean, verminous scum putting poison in a well is cute and all, but he never burnt a rainforest down to sell a JPEG of a dog. Captain Planet villain, step up your game. Come on, step up your game. Chop chop. And so it is that my calling Electronic Arts evil actually will come across like overblown hyperbole when I fucking mean it to my core. I truly mean EA is evil, and it has the PowerPoint to prove it. It's not as evil as Amazon, of course, but it is a game publisher that openly admits it funnels its players into an exploitative economy that carries a significant risk of harm to vulnerable people and children who have been deliberately targeted. It tries to dress it all up as surprise mechanics rather than gambling, but they know damn well what they're doing. It is said that evil happens when the good do nothing. When the bad do bad? Well, what the fuck is that? I'll tell you what it is. It's in the game. Ah! Anyway, rumours abound that the next Dragon Age 4, will have live service elements. Or is that confirmed now? Anyway, it's quite clear to me, and, well, anyone looking at this shit, that fully realised AAA games like Resident Evil Village are increasingly an exception rather than the norm. Electronic Arts only recently talked about how much money it was making from microtransactions. Massive amounts, a predominant amount of money. Millions and millions and billions of dollars flow into this industry in torrents. I've mentioned this before. It's all I talk about, for fuck's sake. And we had Ubisoft, who, by the way, spent years and years and years protecting sexual abusers. Ubisoft saying that it's less interested now in releasing these big AAA games, and they want to focus on free-to-play games. Because that's where the money is. Because that's all they're in it for. Because, like I said, back in the early 2010s, they're in it for all the money. They don't just want a bit, they want all of it. Otherwise, it's not worth it to them. Do you think if they could just churn out a shitty asset flip and make billions of dollars off that they'd continue to do your Assassin's Creed games? Fuck no. That's actually absurd. That is like when they used to say, oh, these big AAA games will fuel the smaller games. No, it didn't. It never does. This money never goes back into the industry. It goes into the offshore accounts of executive fuckwits. Wait. That's getting close to the capitalism talk, and I promised myself none this week. I've had my pudding. It's time to eat the dinner. The dinner of just saying EA bad. And I hope you enjoyed it, because EA is bad. EA is evil. Actually, I don't know why I went and picked it back up again. I've I've done all I'm gonna do with this as far as bits go. So, fuck. Thank God for me is basically where these episodes always lead, isn't it? So, now I said it. Now we can roll the credits with that awesome music.